Okay, this is my little tour of Caumsett, where I live, and this is the main house, the mansion where Marshall Fields III, the grandson of Marshall Fields of Fields Department Store in Chicago. This was his home, his vacation home, you might say. He really didn't live here. Actually, he didn't spend that much time here, maybe 3 or 4 weeks a year. But his family would come and stay, and they were in and out. They also had two guest houses for visitors. Um, this is around walking around what would be the back of the house. This house actually, this there was a fire, and about a third of this mansion burnt down, and I don't know when that happened, but this is the side that burnt. So they reconstructed it, and they just shortened it and lopped off that third of the house. And maybe later on we could see that, or maybe you notice that at the front shot. But this is the view from the rear of the house. This estate was designed by Pope and Olmsted, who designed Central Park and many, many of the mansions here on the North Shore of Long Island. This is beautiful, beautiful high ceilings inside and a lot of marble work. This is their view from their backyard. You're looking down at a freshwater pond there, and beyond that freshwater pond is Long Island Sound. I guess that would be Huntington Harbor. And I'm walking up here to the window. I try to get a shot inside. I've been inside this mansion last year. I was in there. There were people working in there, and I went in and looked around. And it's just gorgeous. It has a Cinderella staircase. It's just amazing inside. As you can see, I believe this was a library. This particular room was their library. But you can maybe see the height of the ceilings. It's just enormous. It's kind of like your museum height ceilings. And this is the, I don't know, foyer. It leads to the back patio, the rear entrance of the house. It's hard to tell what they had in all these rooms because most of the furniture that existed has been put into storage, and it's not really set up for tours. There's a 2 mile loop that goes around. Here we are in another shot. This is the stables. This is an active equestrian center, has a 10-year lease, and these were their stables, and now they're running. In that last shot, you could see possibly the horses' heads in the windows sticking out. The horses have little windows in their stalls. And this is part of that. These are these little corrals where the horses will hang out during the day. And they bring them out for exercise and to get sun and fresh air. There's the horses' heads. You can see them looking out of their windows. And here we've got another stable area. I believe that they have, I forget what it's called, one of those rings, indoor rings, where the horses will, they'll practice a dressage there. Most of these horses, that's what they do. They're competitive horses. But you'll always catching people riding their horses around. There's also another stable that's deeper in the woods. That's more of a riding stable. This is an older building, obviously, with a clock tower. And there's outside, there's different loving cups and things like that set into the walls. It's very elaborate, as is a lot of the things. This is a bad shot. I was trying to show that there's another building. It's called the Summer Cottage. It's hard to see because it's covered mostly by trees. But that was one of the houses where guests would stay. There's also a winter cottage. And they didn't like to have their guests. This is the winter cottage here. They didn't, apparently the Fields didn't like having guests stay in their mansion. So that was just for the immediate family. Other relatives and friends would stay in other places. This is the farm area. They have a dairy farm in operation here. They also have a stable in there for working horses to keep them away, I guess, from the fancy show horses. They didn't want any unsolicited romances, I guess. But this is that building right there in view was a milking barn, where they bring the cows in. Now, a lot of these cows and bulls, there's two bullpens. A lot of them were for shows, these stock yard shows in Chicago. And this is apparently something that these people did back in the 1920s and 30s. They would compete and breed animals like this, farm animals. But this gives you an idea of these tremendous pastures, and there's many, many of them on this property. It's 1,600 acres. It's got a 3-mile long beach on the backside, which is about 2 miles away from where I'm filming this right now. And you go down this dirt road through the woods to get there. It's really pretty. This is the walled garden. I just shot this. The first time we had a Zoom meeting, I walked my phone through there. But this is just to give you an idea of the size of the walled garden. I believe it's about 150 by 150 feet, roughly. But inside there now, they're doing very nice work with the flowers and so forth in there. And this is one of the troughs for the cows and horses, I guess. They keep water in there, maybe feed. And they're all around the park and all these fields, and they come by and fill them up with water. They had a wagon with water in it. And that is one of the main barns, and it's still there. You go inside, and it's a barn, all right, and there's a silo there. That building there. Here's a shot I took at 9 p.m. at night in the snow of that same complex. And I just included it just for fun because I like this shot. But you see the stars in the sky. This is actually at 9 at night with a full moon. This is a little area here where you can sit, contemplate. Here I am. By the way, I shot this whole thing. I was on my bicycle, riding around the park. And here I am going back home, and I'm going down the hill with my bike. And I figured, let me try to do this while holding my phone. Luckily, I didn't fall. But there you'll see coming up a couple of geese. And geese are all over the place here. That's Mary and Bill. I named those two Mary and Bill. They hang around my house. Mary and Bill recently just had babies. And they're these little fluff balls that follow them around. There's my truck and my car, and there's my garage and my house. And that's the end of this little video. There's much, much more to see. I did not include anything with the beach or the pond. But that gives you little idea what it's about here. This is a view I took of this house in the wintertime before I moved in. This is my fireplace inside my living room. And that's about it for this.